Hi friends, welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I'm Austin, and today's video is an eco-friendly home, or at least, what I envision to be an eco-friendly home. It is a tiny house built in Windenburg, and I'm really happy with how it came out. It's very small. When I built it, I was more envisioning a eco-friendly home more than a tiny house, but those two concepts really do go hand in hand sometimes, so I'm really happy with how this house came out, and I was able to do some things I hadn't really tried before with other tiny houses. The thing I'm working on right now is a water tank, which in an kind of living off the land kind of house, would be a necessity, though this being The Sims, there's really no use for it here, but I think it just kind of looks cool and adds to the aesthetic. I wanted to add solar panels, but I didn't. I just had trouble trying to make them, look right, because I've never really tried to make, something that looks like solar panels. But, maybe in the future, if I try this again, I can give it a better attempt. The fun fact, though, about this build was it took me several times to get it right, because originally I wanted to build a tiny house, because I've been watching a ton of tiny house videos, both like Sims related and not Sims related, and I've also been watching a lot of eco-friendly homes and reading about them, and so really I was just inspired to make one, and this was the attempt that I was finally happy with it, and I'm really happy with this build. I think it's really interesting. It has, a lot of character. I think the build, it being an eco-friendly home, I kind of envisioned people that would, recycle and reuse, like previously used structures or, wood. So I used, I think the paneling from Get Together, where it's kind of a varied color, and I think it just looks really nice, and it kind of fits that aesthetic pretty well. I also used a lot of items from Laundry Day, including the clothes hanger and the washing bucket, or whatever it's called. And yeah, so this is a pretty pack-heavy build, despite being a small home. But, a couple weeks ago I did do a base game tiny house, which I'm really happy with. And I also, I think, did another tiny house build recently. I can't remember though. So yeah, I haven't been, really setting out to build tiny houses, but I think they're a lot of fun to build. So anytime I kind of get the inspiration to build one, I kind of jump at that chance. And in the past I wasn't happy with some of my tiny house builds. I think they just never came together right, and so with these last couple builds being stuff that I'm really happy with, I'm pretty excited. So yeah, the exterior portion of this build took quite a while. Not half the build time, but pretty close, which for a house this small with the interior, being smaller than the exterior, I think makes sense. But I tried to work on the outside and then the inside, so I can have the timestamps and the comments and stuff. So yeah, I've been really trying to separate the two, and then towards the end of builds I kind of do finishing touches and the screenshots. But if there's ever a point where you're not maybe a fan of watching houses being built entirely, or if you're just a fan of watching kind of interior design, hopefully those timestamps help you out. Though if you're a fan of interior design, you probably just started listening, so you might not know what I was talking about. But yeah, so this kitchen, I think, takes up most of the build, and I'm really happy with how it looks. I think it's a very interesting, kind of craftsman style kitchen, or it feels, kind of handmade, with the wood counters and then the shelves instead of countertops. I think it just really fits the space really well. And then that door from Cats and Dogs really has a kind of handmade look to it, so that's why I kind of use that one. And then I tried to use some simple furniture as well. The bookshelf from Get Famous, I think, and I think I end up using that side table. I think I keep that side table, I can't remember. And the bench I think I do get rid of and replace with a couch, because I think one time, or sometimes, the thing that kind of gets overlooked in tiny homes is the couch, but I think that should probably be one of the more comfortable parts of a house, tiny or not. So I did end up going with that smaller couch that I think looks comfier than the one I was using earlier. But doing the wallpapers for the interior, I found was the most difficult part of the build, mainly because the wood on the outside I thought was too dark for the interior, so I just kind of struggled to find a light yet kind of natural tone, and I think I ended up sticking with the white, which isn't necessarily a natural tone, but that wallpaper has a very nice, the wood grain is still visible in that wallpaper, so I really like using it in an instance like this. So also a fun fact is I sound terrible for this voiceover. My voice hasn't been doing so great because allergies are really bad in spring, and I've done this voiceover twice now, and both times I've listened back and they have sounded terrible, so hopefully this one doesn't sound as bad, and yeah, that's just kind of something I have to get used to. Again, I hopefully as the season kind of goes on, my allergies kind of get better, but I never know. It always feels like it. Every time my allergies get better for a short time, then like the season changes and my allergies get worse again. So it's a fun time. So like I mentioned before at the start of the build, this was, I do consider this an eco-friendly style house. So one thing I wanted to do to make sure, it wasn't leaving behind a large footprint, which would be something, people in a house like this would be careful of, was I only wanted to have one sink, and then the bathtub, and then the toilet, but I didn't really want to have too much of a, I didn't want to have like two sinks or anything, because, that could be seen as wasteful, and, I could have made the bathroom a little bit bigger for a sink, but I think kind of sticking to that plan, I think gives the house a little more character, so I'm really happy about it. So I'm not sure how much this house costs, but it should be on the gallery. I try to make sure all my builds are on the gallery, and if you are interested in my builds, then you can find me on the gallery. My OriginID is TheSimSanctuary. It's all one word, and yeah, I have builds from the past, and sometimes I upload builds there early. So if you're interested to see what I'm working on, you can always check it out there. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter handle is SimSanctuaryYT, capital Y, capital T. And yeah, the build was a lot of fun. I really liked the hardwood floors I used in this build, and I think it just came together really easily, but I tried not to rush. I tried to make sure every choice I made kind of had a purpose and had a just kind of felt like it belonged there. So yeah, it kind of takes on this kind of tiered structure with the two fencing things, and I really like how it looks from the outside. I really like taking screenshots of this build. I only took a few though because it is a small house, so there wasn't much need for a lot of screenshots, which was kind of nice, I think. Sometimes I've been building, recently I've been building, much larger homes, which, sometimes when I do builds like that, I might have like 3 minutes of screenshots, and I try to keep the amount of time of screenshots on screen for, a pretty short amount of time. So when it's like 3 minutes of screenshots, that means there's like a ton of screenshots. So yeah, this one doesn't have that many, and I really like this lot. I don't build on it a lot. I think like I've maybe had one other build take place here, and that was maybe a year and a half ago. So yeah, it was kind of nice revisiting this lot and seeing just kind of how fun it can be to build here, because it's really open and feels like it really belongs with nature, and I think it's just something that really helps this house. Also, on a quick note, in the kitchen, I kind of was rambling on while it was happening, but I did add that corner cabinet into the corner, which doesn't look very nice. I will admit, I think it would look a lot better if that cabinet's color swatches matched more with the cabinets or the shelves, but they didn't, and so I got kind of annoyed and I left it there because like I just feel like it had a really good chance to look really nice, but because there's so many limited color swatches, it just didn't work. But then the longer I left it there, the more it kind of grew on me, so I left it behind, and I don't know, I'm just really happy with how it looks in there. It kind of has that more reclaimed feel. So yeah, anyways, screenshots are on the screen now, and if you are new to this channel and you enjoyed this video, then please consider hitting the subscribe button, and also if you enjoyed this video, then please consider liking it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye.